What's going on? What is up today? Or I guess this very, very early morning. Okay. Um so hedonism and novelty. Figure let's talk a little bit about hedonism today. We'll get to novelty in a little later. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand in my personal opinion, but hedonism, of course, is a lot more. I don't know. It's about self pleasure. It's about self indulgence. Um, Here, let's hedonism, the pursuit of pleasure, sensual self indulgence. Yeah. The ethical theory that pleasure, in the sense of the satisfaction of desires, is the highest good and proper aim of human life. Okay, so little bit of a history lesson. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I paid attention in history class because I really didn't. I mean, I failed junior history. It was IB history. I can't remember. I think it was like American history, something like that. Anyways, I failed that class my first year. First year that I could take it, which was junior year. I think you could technically take it in sophomore year, but I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't smart enough to take IB history as a junior either, so I don't know why I was put into that class. To be quite honest, yeah, that was interesting times, but I didn't turn in my final paper because I'm big on procrastination. So, anyways, from what I know, or from what I don't know, people talk about word of mouth. Maybe I don't even know if this is really that accurate, but at the peak of the Roman Empire, and I would give you a timeline, but I don't really know. I don't even really know when that was. I mean, it was like what, the 1000 BCE? And why did they change the whole BC AD into BC BCE or whatever before the Common Era? Anyways, from what I understand, at the peak of Roman civilization, it was all about entertainment because entertainment distracted the people from the issues, the world issues, the Roman issues that they had as a civilization, as a people. And so they would have all these like circus, I don't know, routines. And from what I understand, and I can't back any of this up, so if someone wants to correct me, feel free to. But from what I understand, sexuality was very experimental at the peak of Roman civilization. Sorry for the little, I don't know, dot, little sound bits or whatever. I'm playing RuneScape on my alt account, so I'm just doing some motherload mine. So whenever you hear that notification, it's because my character went idle. But anyways, yeah, they had all these circus routines for entertainment. It was all about eating a shit ton of good food and having lots of sex. It was a hedonistic culture at the peak of the Roman Empire. And that eventually, I mean, maybe that wasn't what led to their downfall directly, but I think indirectly that was maybe part of the cause. And yeah, I think today, at least from what I see, this is of course anecdotal. I'm not going off of anything factual, but I do believe, in my viewpoint of looking at the world today, we do live in a very hedonistic culture, at least in America. Everything's very individualistic. It's all about me, me, me. And I mean, okay, you know what? This is, RuneScape's too distracting. I'll just log off here. Okay. You know, the Windows program that you can like see your phone, I think it's quite literally called Your Phone or Your Phone Companion, whatever. It never works. Like I try to clear notifications or whatever. It just doesn't work very well. So what the heck? Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of chasing of desires that there seems to be in American culture. There's a lot of, at least from what I see in young people, it's all about, oh, I don't really want to work. I just want to have a good time. And I mean, I'm one of those bitches. I'm part of the problem. I'm part of this hedonistic issue. Yeah, and lots of casual sex as well. People are having casual sex left and right, like it's nobody's business. Well, actually, it is everyone's business because they let it be known. I will let you know. Hey, I'm having casual sex. Look at me. Look at how good my life is. I'm getting banged all the time. That's not true. I'm just saying shit. Anyways. Yeah, there's so much of this self-indulgence that happens. There's a lot of materialism that I think is championed a little too much. It's all about money. It's all about, oh, well, if I had more money, I would have more fun. I would have a better life. And maybe that's true to some degree. But how is it that I don't know. I think it's really quite hilarious when people will say, "Oh, down with the patriarchy, down with capitalism," and yet they want the most money. Often, it seems. Maybe that's anecdotal. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. I don't know, but that's what it seems like to me. Um, where did everything go? Why is it that communities are dying, people are lonely, people are dying of loneliness, which is quite literally a very sad thing to think about. I mean, that's, at least one contributing factor as to why suicide rates are, I don't know if they're at all-time highs necessarily, but it's not looking good in especially when you consider, historically speaking, if we're just going off of history, we are, technically speaking, living in the most peaceful time in the world. So you have to wonder, why is it that the most peaceful time in the world I mean, not ignoring the issues, the world issues that we are facing today. Obviously, there's still a lot of war, there's a lot of death, there's poverty left and right, up and down, it's everywhere. Homelessness is rampant. But even with all that, sure, we are still living in the most peaceful time in all of history. So why is it that people are killing themselves? And obviously that's ignorant to say. There are viable reasons as to why it's happening, but you just have to wonder, what is causing all of this? Where's the distress coming from? Truly, I mean, of course, this is anecdotal, this is my opinion, but I do think that a lot of it comes down to hedonism, and hence why we're talking about it. But self-indulgence, going after the things that you desire most. And if you don't get that, then you're not going to be happy. And I think a lot of people will look towards things like their desires for how they gauge and calculate their happiness, which is a really fucked up way to look at happiness. I mean, when I was younger, for example, that's how I viewed happiness. It was all about, constantly asking myself, oh, am I happy today? Am I happy? If I'm not happy, then fuck. What's up, average Battlefield 1 enjoyer? What's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I don't know. Pleasure is not, I mean, of course, that's what hedonism is all about. It's the whole view, the ethical theory that pleasure, in the sense of satisfaction of desires, is the highest good and proper aim of human life. It's not, I think any objectively sane person would look at hedonism and surmise that, hey, this is not the best thing, the highest aim of human life. It's just not. There's so many other things that you can derive out of life. It is not just your own self-indulgence and pleasure. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having sex and having a good time when you're having sex. Obviously, hopefully, both of those things. When you're having sex, you're having a good time. Hopefully that's the case. But it doesn't mean have more sex. It doesn't mean have more casual sex or casual partners. And I think a lot of people are doing that. I mean, good for them. That is if that's what you want, that's what you want. But I don't think it's the end all be all. It seems that a lot of people kind of look at it in that way. Like when people say, I want my life to be 50% love and 50% sex. And it's like, okay, well, you're not going to be having sex 12 hours a day. And if you are, then I really question your goals in life. Again, there's nothing wrong with having sex and enjoying it. Obviously, that's what you want when you do have sex, is to enjoy it. But I don't understand how the pinnacle of sex has just become, well, I want more of it. More. It's very, very weird. Not only that, but things like friendships and relationships today. And again, this may all be anecdotal. Maybe it's just in my experience that these things are going in this way. But things like relationships and friendships today seem extremely transactional. It's all about, oh, what can I get out of this person? What can I get out of this relationship, this friendship? Whether it be monetarily or acts of service or whatnot. And like, people talk about their love languages and, oh, well, I want my love languages to be met. I mean, obviously that's the goal. That's how you will feel most loved. But I mean, you also have to find the right person too. I think, demanding a certain kind of language of love seems a little odd to me. Like, for example, if acts of service or gift giving or gift receiving is like at one of the highest in your love languages, that you demand that from your partner or partners, I think that's a little weird. But that's just me. If you can let people know, hey, this is my love language, and hopefully they can interpret that in a way where they can show you that love in that way. But if they can't, then maybe it's just not the right person then. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know anything. I mean, I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude. I'm just some random. Yeah, and then, so novelty. This whole idea of things that are new. The quality of being new, original, or unusual. A new or unfamiliar thing or experience, denoting something intended to be amusing as a result of its new or unusual quality, and or a small and inexpensive toy or ornament. So obviously we're kind of looking at those middle two. I guess the first definition. The quality of being new, original, or unusual. Oh, sorry. Pressed the wrong button there. Take traveling, for example. I see, and this very well could be the case, that maybe people want to travel a lot because of COVID, the aftermath of COVID and being locked up for a year and a half, 2 years. People want to get out. And okay, I don't want to make it seem like I'm just shitting on travel, but I just don't get it. I don't get it myself. I think that traveling is great. It's great to see new cultures, new places, new people. But I don't understand why it's kind of like, the way that I interpret it is, it is kind of like, the end all be all. It's all about traveling and it's all about sex for what seems like so many people to me. And I just don't get it. I want to be home. I want to be home. I love being at home. Love being home because my family, my friends, they're all here. It's comfortable. It's relaxing. It's familiar. I personally don't understand it myself. But the novelty seeking seems very high and widespread today. All about new experiences, finding new people, meeting new people, eating new foods, all of this kind of stuff. And to me, novelty ties into itself with hedonism because it's chasing after your desires. It's chasing after pleasure. It's self-indulgence. Um, Maybe not to the same extreme as what is blatant hedonism, but it's a similar parallel to some degree. And I don't know, man. There seems to be a little too much of this pleasure seeking, novelty seeking. What can I get out of people? What can I get out of things? And, this is why it's really unfortunate for friendships and relationships because that is just not how. I mean, I would like to think most people don't see friendships or relationships to be structured in that way, but I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. It's hard for me to gauge just how widespread it is because it does seem to be very transactional in this way. And not only that, it's not only just this monetary transaction of friendships and relationships. It's also just, uh, I do truly believe that there are good people in the world and that do things for others without any I don't know, need for recognition, if that makes sense. But that seems to be pretty high. This um, the idea of relationships and friendships being transactional to this point where if I do something for someone and it makes them happy, that happiness is a direct reflection and acknowledgement of what I did for this person to make them happy, and so that makes me happy. That's kind of how I see it. I mean, that's not how I think people should see friendships and relationships. I think that any objectively sane person that wants to build relationships and friendships that are long lasting and lifelong, hopefully, is to look at it in a way that you're building something together. I mean, a friendship, a relationship, communities, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. It's not ever going to change from that. It's not give, or take, take. It's not one-sided. It is two and or more people that have to build something together. They have to construct the sandcastle, if you will. And it's not one person doing something and then the other person doing something, going back and forth in that way. I mean, in many ways, the timeline of a friendship or a relationship may seem that way, but it shouldn't feel that way, if that makes sense. I don't know. Everything's just very transactional today, and it's sickening to me. It's sickening. I'm sick of this. I'm an old fart now, and I'm sick of these people. I'm grumpy, and I'm old. I don't understand it. It's about building people up, building communities up. And I mean, that's another thing that's really unfortunate, I think, is communities are dying, people are dying from things like loneliness and not having people in their corner, people to go to, people to reach out. I mean, of course, you have to be self-sufficient to some degree, and you have to self-advocate. But this loneliness thing, it's a real killer today. And in a time, historically speaking, at least, living in the most quote unquote peaceful time in all of human history, you have to wonder, well, why is this all happening? And whether or not, whether or not the um, subject matter on the Roman Empire and peak civilization for them, and then their downfall, whether or not that was true, that people were just having a lot of sex and experimenting sexually, having a lot of entertainment going around for distraction, to not have to be straight in the face with the problems of the world. You have to wonder if is that happening today? Is that happening today? I don't know. That's probably a pretty extreme way to look at things, but yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people are doing a lot of finger pointing and talking a lot about their own issues. I mean, it's funny because there's a lot of virtue signaling to the act of saying and expressing that, oh, hey, I do this and that. Look how good of a person I am. Why don't you do this? And that, oh man, it's just, I don't get it. If you're a good person, people will just know. Uh, through your actions, through the things that you say or do, whatever. People will just know that you're a good soul, you're good hearted. But yeah. I mean, certainly there's nothing wrong with acknowledgement and wanting acknowledgement. I think it's a human necessary need to some degree, but it seems a little rampant because, again, I think it goes back to loneliness and people feeling like they don't have a place. And so many people today, I think, are just running rampantly around to find belonging, finding a place where they feel welcome. And so you have all these groups that have kind of risen out, which, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I question sometimes the motivation. Uh, I don't know. I think in a very dystopian way, I guess. I trace a lot of things back to money. I think that a lot of people are greedy. Well, I mean, not even just monetarily, but again through wanting engagement from others, wanting acknowledgement, wanting some form of I don't know, recognition that they are who they think they are. And I that kind of stuff I think is it's weird to me because I don't even know who the fuck I am most of the time. I'm still trying to figure that shit out. And I don't want to pretend like I know I'm a jackass, okay? I know that I'm a jackass. I know I'm not a good person. I try to be. I'm really trying to turn that shit around. But um yeah, I think there's a lot of fakeness. The lack of genuineness, I guess. And I mean, it's just sad to see. But yeah, so I mean, certainly I know that hedonism and the talk of novelty and maybe these are extreme views, but I just wanted to touch on it because it's something that's been on my mind for the past few days. Uh, I think it's important to be present. I think it's important to be around people that you love and care for. But I don't know if it's the best idea to just go after the things that you desire. Um, be content in the mundane. Find peace in the mundane, the everyday, daily things that you do. That is, at least for me. I mean, that's where I've found true happiness. That's where I have found true peace and prosperity. But maybe that's not the best way to look at things or life for that matter. But I've uh, I've turned around a lot of my thinking just based off of thinking it in this way, and I think we need a little more of that. Maybe not a lot more, but maybe just a little more of that. Appreciating the the mundane. Okay. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on the topic. I should probably go to sleep. It's 4 o'clock.